Hi, my name is Brendan Hutton, and I am a student at Central State University. For people who don't know what's going on and just randomly clicked on this, this is the third and final of three videos that I am making for my senior's capstone class. And in this video, I'm um, going to be talking about how the last four presidents have responded to the natural disasters that have happened during their presidency. And and the order that each president's going to be talked about is going to be from Bush all the way to President Biden in chronological order.
Mr. President, are you up there? Go away! Sir, there's a disaster in New Orleans. I'm reading Super Fudge. You gotta come down and deal with this. Don't make me do
As you can probably tell in this part of the video, I'm going to be talking about what President Bush did in response to Hurricane Katrina. Now, many people have criticized him for his response, and in this part of the video, I'm going to see if it's really as bad as what people claimed it to be. And according to the Bush White House archives, Bush was, under his leadership, he was able to have Congress provide over $20 billion in federal funds through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's Community Development Block Grant Program, which did include $13.4 billion for Louisiana and $5.5 billion for Mississippi to help rebuild the housing and other infrastructures that were damaged from the storm. The article goes on to say like what was the result of some of the stuff he did 3 years later. One of the things that happened as a result was the greater New Orleans metro area, as population went up to 87% above pre Katrina estimates. The greater New Orleans area added 8,600 jobs in the past year. New Orleans 2007 visitor numbers increased from 3.7 million in 2006 to 7.1 million in 2007. In 2007, visitors spent a total of $4.8 billion as to compared to the 2.6 billion in 2006. Wow, 2 billion in profits in a matter of a year. There are also apparently a lot more restaurants opened for business than there were before Katrina. The U.S. Department of Education provided almost $2 billion in grant assistance to reopen schools in the coast region. And this is what, just to show like what some people thought about it, here is what Martin Paredes had to say in defending freedom and advancing freedom, provided from the Central State Library right here. As you can probably tell, Martin wasn't really a big fan of how President Bush handled the situation. Me personally, I think it's not as bad as what people were saying. It's just it took a while for like the area to fully recover. Because I mean, in 2006, they, again, like going over like the president's archives, they made $2.8 billion in 2006, and then in 2007 they made $4.8 billion in like just from the visitors alone. And again, there's more restaurants than before Katrina. So I think overall it was a success. And in the next part of the video, we're going to be talking about President Obama's response to his natural disaster he had during his presidency.
Some of you may have noticed I had a lot more energy in our second debate. I felt really well rested after the nice long nap I had in the first debate.
In this part of the video, I'm going to be talking about President Obama's response to the 2008 flood that happened in Louisiana. One of the first things that President Obama did in his response was he signed the Louisiana Disaster Declaration. The president's action makes federal funding available to those that were affected in the parishes of East Baton Rouge, Livingston, St. Helena, and Tagipoha. What the federal funding included was grants for temporary housing and home repairs, low-cost loans to cover uninsured property losses, and other programs to help individuals and business owners recover from the effects of the disaster. I found in a CNN article when the flood happened, President Obama was on vacation in Martha's Vineyard, and he apparently refused to cut his vacation short. Many people criticized him for that, and the editorial of the Advocate said this. The CNN article continues to talk about how earlier in the week, President Obama did phone the state's governor, John Bel Edwards, shortly after approving the Democrats' request for federal disaster funding. The White House said Obama's top Homeland Security official, Lisa Monaco, was traveling with him on Martha's Vineyard. She was apparently updating him on all the new developments along with his other aides. They did say the response was better with the work of FEMA. It was far better than the stuff they got with Hurricane Katrina. And just to get a little more detail about the federal funding, according to an MSNBC article, the federal funding included $126 million distributed by the government. That included temporary rental assistance, essential home repairs, and flood insurance payments. And it even included President Trump slamming President Obama for not being there even sooner. And now with that done, we're going to be talking about the next president. Speaking of President Trump. So in this part of the video, I'm going to be talking about what President Trump did in response to Hurricane Harvey. Just to provide a little bit of context, on August 23rd, 2017, Texas was hit with a hurricane that destroyed thousands of people's homes like no other. According to the Scientific American, early projections of the storm resulted in 300,000 people losing power, and the peak winds would have went up to 125 miles per hour. I remember when I was at my grandparents' house, it was severely damaged. We essentially had to remodel essentially the entire house, and it took us months to finally finish the remodeling. And according to the White House Trump archives, President Trump declared a major state of emergency right away. The archives continue to talk about how he targeted counties of B, Goliad, Kleptberg, Nueces, San Patricio, and Refugio. Assistance can include grants for temporary housing and home repairs, low-cost loans to cover uninsured property losses, and other programs to help individuals and business owners to help recover from the effects of the disaster. Just to talk about what some of the counties got, Harris County got $198.6 million. Galveston County got $44.7 million. Fort Bend County got $22.2. Brazoria got $15.8. Orange County got $13.3. San Patricio got $9.9 million, and the Nueces County got $9.6 million. And additionally, FEMA also got approved for their public assistance program, which included $108 million for local and state agencies to reimburse for the cost of debris removal and emergency response. And just to like add a bit more, this is what Vice President Greg Abbott had to say. He said, and I quote, "I've got to tell you, I give FEMA a grade of A+, all the way from the president down. I've spoken to the president several times, to his cabinet members, such as Secretary of Homeland Security, such as the administrator of FEMA, such as Tom Price, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and then here's what Vice President Pence had to say. President Trump continued to stress his expectation that all departments and agencies stay fully committed to supporting the governor of Texas and Louisiana and his number one priority of saving lives." As you can see, unlike the prior presidents, it looks like people have really liked what President Trump did in his response to Hurricane Harvey. And with that being said, I'm now going to be moving on to President Biden's response to his disaster.
You okay? I want the press to know that wasn't me.
So in this part of the video, I'm going to be going over what President Biden did in response to Hurricane Helene. Like President Bush before, President Biden was heavily criticized for his response to this hurricane. Many people say that he did little to nothing in his response to this event. According to an article by the University of South Carolina, Helene was the deadliest inland hurricane on record. It killed 128 people in the northeast United States, and it ended up being a Category 4 hurricane. Apparently, the winds went up to 140 miles per hour, and more than 2 million homes lost power in 2 states. There were rumors that the government was stopping people from attempting to help the millions of people to help the locals that were hit by the hurricane. I'm going to go over what Member of Congress Chuck Edwards had to say about the rumors. For that particular rumor, this is what he had to say about that. Here it is. As you saw there, he said that obviously that rumor was not true, that FEMA doesn't stop vehicles. He also addressed some other rumors saying that Chimney Rock wasn't being bulldozed and that Rutherford County Emergency Services personnel were going through extensive lengths to search for missing people, including debris, by using dogs to like sniff them out, and also to locate any remains of individuals that were trapped in the debris. They also were saying that every other community in western North Carolina, Chimney Rock officials are focused first and foremost on recovery efforts, followed by plans to rebuild in the future. Now, just to go a little more into detail on how the federal funding was being used, according to the American Presidential Project, the Department of Agriculture, in coordination with approved insurance providers, announced more than $233 million to help farmers recover from hurricane damage during the fall harvest season. The Federal Highway Administration sent 144 million in quick release emergency relief funding to North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and also Virginia. These funds represent a down payment to help with the immediate aftermath of the hurricane. Under President Biden, for the communities affected by Helene, FEMA also delivered more than 11 million meals and also 9.6 million liters of water. And that was essentially what his response was to the hurricane. So, again, in this video, we went over how each president did their response to each of the major natural disasters that happened during their respective presidential terms. Now, I'm going to rate them on what I personally believe they did, who did the best job in their respective crisis. My ratings for the presidents are going to be from best to worst. So now I'm going to rate them. I personally believe that President Trump, it was President Trump, then President Obama, President Bush, and then President Biden. I personally think President Trump had overall the best hurricane response, and I think he had overall had a worse situation to deal with than President Obama. And I think honestly President Bush's response, his plan kind of took a little too long to start showing the benefits of his plans, and so that's why I personally think why people just didn't like it as much. And then I think President Biden did the worst in terms of his response compared to all the other presidents. I just want to say that just from the research I did, I think each of the presidents did the best job they could do, and I think obviously everyone does a better job than others. And again, my ratings are Trump, Obama, Bush, and then Biden. I just want to say thank you for watching this video, and this project was a lot of fun to work on, and I hope you have a wonderful night. See ya.